Hello and welcome to Olive Community Services. You are about to watch a few segments from our in-person session about Hispanic Heritage Month that we honored in the month of October. It runs usually from the 15th of September to the 15th of October every year. This year we've made a conscious effort to honor different cultures and traditions. We were blessed with the presence of two speakers from our community, Lucy Silva and Dr. Mariam Saada. I hope you enjoyed this session as much as we did.
Speakers, we're extremely excited. So huge round of applause we have Miss Lucy Silva. And she was somebody who was recommended to us through our other board member, Rehana Wahab, who couldn't make it today. But what I loved about Lucy was that she responded. I literally, asked if there's anybody from the community come and speak to Oliver's. This is very unique. She immediately called, we connected, and she's here a week later. So kudos to her for coming and sharing your culture. It's very important. These kind of celebrations you'll see them in community centers, you'll see them at schools, but even us, no matter what age group you are, we should be honoring these special heritage months. We celebrate multiculturalism. I know we don't have many Olivers from the Hispanic community, but hopefully, there's no stopping them. They're welcome to come. Lucy will share probably future Oliver right there. So I'm excited that, we are able to bring a real deal perspective and not just, watch a video. We did do a little bit of Spanish last time, a little bit of a short film, but this is live, connection. So a small but short bio of Lucy. She's originally from Mexico. She is married to a Palestinian born in Lebanon. She has 4 children, 3 boys and 1 girl. She became Muslim in 1997. She has a BA in Islamic Studies. She volunteers in the Latino Muslim causes. She is a speaker, a trainer, an educator, and an organizer. So she loves to read and travel. No wonder she connected to the traveling part. So welcome, Lucy. Thank you for being here today.
Thank you. Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here. I'm really honored to be here as well.
Right.
And thank you so much for the invite.
Of course. Now, I know the bio was really short and sweet. Is there anything more about yourself that you'd like to share, not in the bio, that you're comfortable sharing?
Well, I do also come from OCS family. My 3 children did attend there in the late 90s. And we left to Jordan in 2006. We lived there for 3.5 years so that my children could learn Arabic because of my husband's heritage. And after that, I wanted to teach them Spanish for my heritage. But Mexico was not the ideal place at that time. So we just went to Jordan. And when we came back, we had to come back and resettle. And then I got pregnant again after 14 years. So I had to restart all over again. So I had another son, Yusuf, who's now 10 years old. So I've been back from Jordan like about 10 years. So he's 10 years old. So that's a fun fact. So right now he's in a dual immersion Spanish school. So I'm kind of focusing different with him, trying to do things different from the older. Last year, my 2 children did get married, my 2 oldest ones. So they're once in Arizona, once with us. And talk about a mix of cultures. My son is half Arab, half Hispanic. And he married a girl whose parents are Indian, but she's half African-American, half Korean. So wow. It's like a very mixed mash of different cultures. So wow. That's going to be really interesting to see.
Do they have children already?
Sorry?
Do they have children?
No. They just got married last year. So no, I'm not ready to take the next step yet.
Yes. They'll be checking a lot of boxes when they're asked about
it. Right. That was been a challenge to, the forms, the census forms. So. So that's a little fun fact about me. I did used to do a lot of community organizing, but it's very exhausting. I did a lot of with a lot of sessions, a lot of groups, a lot of organizations, and Hispanics and Muslims. A lot of get out the vote. A lot of social justice with women's and things like that. A lot of involvement with immigration, whatnot. I'm taking a break. I was board member of several organizations, but now I'm just taking a break because of my children. And we moved. We have moved a lot as well. I'm moving as hard. I think this is my 20th time moving. So yes, we do still accumulate a lot of stuff. It's been a challenge thing of being a Muslim and trying to balance things. So go ahead and ask away.
My next question was actually along those lines, like how different has any cultural changes, because now you're a participant of two minorities, right? Like there's the Hispanic side and then your Muslim faith. How do you balance both of them with?
Well, my always insight is to always teach the Muslims about our Hispanic culture, and to teach the Hispanics about Muslim or Palestinian or whatever culture that I have to share with them. So it's kind of like I'm trying to balance those things out. For example, at my son's school, when they have International Day, I'll dress him up as a Palestinian, or wear his thobe, his Eid. Or I try to do presentations, give them Arabic cookies, or show them money, or show them a presentation. So I kind of try to introduce that so that they have like some kind of understanding of what it means to be a mixed culture. And this is a great opportunity also for us to be speaking as Hispanics to the Muslims, because there's a lot of misconceptions on both sides that we would like to clarify.
Yes, and that's my next question is tell us a little bit about your culture. Like, what are the things from your tradition and heritage of being a Hispanic that you would love our Olivers to learn from and know about or be aware about?
Well, just like in Arab society, there's like 23 different Arab nations that, yes, they all speak Arabic, but they all have their own culture, dialects, their own food, their own customs. Same with South America, Mexico, Central America. So you're talking about, so we're not like just almost into one people. So we're all different. Even within Mexico, it's 23 different states. I'm from the north, and even from the south, it's very, very different. There's different food, there's different costumes, there's different dress, there's even different languages. There's a lot of indigenous people also in Mexico, which I was not aware of. So even I didn't really grow up knowing a lot of my history. But there was a lot of colonialism as well in Mexico, where, the Spaniards and then the French came, and then it was also ruled by some even royalty family from Austria or something like that. So that was like in the 1800s. So it did go through a lot of colonialism as well. So, which was, I didn't know until later, because I came through when I was 8 years old. So I we were just immersed in the society, so I didn't really know too much about history from Mexico. So we just kind of like blended in here in the society, and that's where I met my husband in high school, and I thought he was Hispanic. I didn't know he was. I didn't know he was Middle Eastern or Palestinian. All that political stuff that I wasn't really aware of. Until after I got married, and learning the language was also a challenge. So I did learn to write it, to Arabic. I speak it.
Did you see the similarities? Because there are some words, right, that overlap.
Right, and I didn't know there was this history that I was not aware of, the Muslims in Spain, all that 500-year history that you don't really learn about in school. So even that was like another thing that I was like, oh my gosh. So there was that connection already. So I'm very proud of that history, but so that kind of like connects me with, you know, everybody. So
can you remind me some of the words that are overlapping from Arabic and Spanish?
Yeah, there's probably Dr. Mariam can give you more information about that, but there's about 10,000 words, I'm sure, but like for instance, there's sugar. In Spanish, it's azúcar, and in Arabic, it's sukkar. So there's that similar. It's very, very similar. There's mayor, which is alcalde in Spanish, and in Arabic is alcalde. So it's so when you kind of like say it really fast. I guess the article A-L, right. And I don't know if you know the sun and the moon letters in Arabic, like, you know, some you say the A-L, some you don't really pronounce it. That's where the sugar is from. You say it's not al-sukkar, it's sukkar, right? So it's like it flows. So that's Spanish. You're right.
Because I took a little bit of Spanish 20 years ago, and now I'm learning Arabic. So the conjugation is like very similar.
Right.
Yes. All those irregular verbs and all that is like same in Arabic and Spanish.
Right.
Yeah, it's really amazing.
Yes, and that was like very insightful. I had no idea until after I became a Muslim. I found out about that because it's not really taught in high schools here. So it's not something that is, they're going to be like, yeah, this is your heritage and things like that. So, and also like coffee, café, zait, aceite, very, very similar, very olive, aceite, aceitun, which is aceituna. So very, very similar. So this is a prime example.
There you go.
Of and there's many, many more. Ojalá, which is inshallah. So we say ojalá, like, which means inshallah. Right. Yeah. And so, and there's a lot of some cultural like beliefs, like not going out at night, like being careful, you know, the eye. I don't
Sounds
know,
very familiar.
Right. There's little things like that that have been passed. So you kind of like question that, where did it originally come from? So maybe it's been passed on by the Muslims and travel, because there was a presence of Muslims in Mexico as well.
Oh, wow.
Right.
I didn't know that.
Yes. So,
okay.
And the name Umar is very common.
Right. Yes. Omar, Mariam is also very, very popular in, which I thought were Hispanic names. But they're originally Muslim names.
Where exactly? I missed the first part. Where are you from exactly?
I'm from Chihuahua, Mexico, which is the northern part, just south of Texas. Who's here? Oh, right, south of Texas. Yeah. So, been here since the 70s. So I grew up here. No. California. I've been Orange County my whole entire time, with the exception of Jordan for 3.5 years. I love Jordan. I love being there. Not my kids. They hated it. They were already like in 10, 11, 12. So they were against, you know, they didn't want to go. I left OCS. It's not the same. It's parts are different. Customs are different. They did, but you know, we had to come back. They were very happy to come back. I loved it. It reminded me of Mexico, actually, being there.
I was going to ask you that. Did you find culturally similar?
Yes, like the buildings, the roads, you know, the circulars, the roundabouts. The trees, how they paint them white.
I know that when I used to get homesick, from the water.
Oh, really?
The traffic.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah, so and that's
also there is a lot of roundabouts.
Are there different dialects?
In Mexico? Yes, there is. The South is very different from the North. And like, I think Dr. Mayor can explain more of the dialects. There's a lot of slang in Spanish. A lot of slang.
Let's have you log in.
She spoke differently. Even the person I knew was from Mexico City. She said she speaks different languages. No, she doesn't speak different language. Maybe her accent is different, or maybe it's a dialect or something.
Yeah.
No, I'm from Mexico, but I don't hear what how she speaks.
Yes. Even from there's a city in south of Oaxaca. They also have their own indigenous, language and culture, the dress, and.
Do you have a favorite festival?
Favorite Mexican festival? Cinco de Mayo, I guess.
What is Cinco de Mayo exactly?
It's the celebration of the independence of Mexico, or from the
Actually,
French.
it's actually in Mexico they don't celebrate it at all.
No.
It's only celebrated here by the Mexicans in the United States. But the Mexicans in Mexico celebrate the 15th of September, the independence from Spain.
Yeah.
But this one is the battle that they won against the French. It's called Batalla de Puebla, Puebla, Mexico. But in Mexico, it's not a celebration at all.
No.
At all.
No.
So the most famous thing we have here is not famous in Mexico at all.
Yeah.
It is funny because when I was in Mexico and I told them Cinco de Mayo, they looked at me like, no,
We
that's
celebrate
not
it here.
our celebration.
And had it not been for that battle, we would have been speaking French.
Yeah.
Oh.
Do you want to try it? Yeah.
So there's that.
How long ago was that?
What she worked for?
This was in
1849. So basically,
so around the same time as the Civil War.
the
Maybe when you are away from your culture, you are in a different culture, you want to preserve your culture.
Right. I think after having kids, you want to like show them your culture and this is how we are, and you want to like them to be proud of that. So I have to show them their Arab culture and their Hispanic culture. Right now they're just like, okay, thanks, Mom, but we're American. Right. So that's just it's okay. I did. I have, we're 4 siblings. My father came from a very large family of, I think, 16, right? And very small town, little pueblo. My mother came from a family of 6.
Some really good food.
So, but when we came, it was just us, and then my other aunt did come. 2 aunts came. So that was a challenge. We were here by ourselves at first. Then we started to know cousins around here. Now everybody's just all over Minnesota, Texas, Florida, all over.
Did you visit Mexico?
I did, yes. We went to a family reunion like 2 years ago, right before COVID. So I took 2 of my children so that they can meet their families, my family, extended family. It was from my father's side, so we all got together where the little town where I was born, which is in Delicias in Chihuahua. So Chihuahua is like one of the largest states in Mexico. So so I came from a small city from Chihuahua. And so we had the family reunion there, about 100, 200 people. But so I love Mexico. We love going there. We used to do a lot of organizational work for Latino Muslims in Mexico. We took about 4 trips in 2009, right? Yeah, so all different parts of Mexico. But after COVID, we just stopped. So there's a lot of growing Latino Muslims there through different people's efforts. Dr. Mariam is part of that. There's other groups that have been going there.
I wanted to introduce our guest speaker, Dr. Mariam Saada. She is a professor, researcher, translator, screenwriter, public speaker, and a mother of 3 children. She was born in France. She speaks 5 languages: French, Arabic, English, Spanish, and Portuguese. She earned her PhD from the University of California, Los Angeles, UCLA, in Spanish linguistics from Hispanic Languages and Literatures Department. Her MA and BA are also in Spanish from California State University, Los Angeles. She has a passion for Spanish to the extent of dedicating her whole career to finding the connections between the Arab, Islamic, and the Hispanic culture and civilization. She completed her postdoctoral in Mexico from the University of California, Riverside as a resident scholar in CIDE, Mexico in 2016, examining traces of Arabic and Islam in 17 archives in the Mexican Republic. We're extremely pleased and honored to have Dr. Saada join us, and I hope you enjoy her presentation.
And it wasn't until my PhD that things got changing for me. So in the PhD program, one of the languages I wrote down to UCLA was Arabic. That I know 5 languages, and one of them is Arabic. So my advisor called me in and said, Mariam, I want you to do something between Spanish and Arabic. I said, no, I'm sorry. I'm coming here as a Spanish student. I only want to do Spanish. I mean, I know Arabic, but I'm not interested. She's like, no, seriously. We accepted you because you're a very unique candidate. We have all these questions, and maybe you can answer them. Why is Spanish having all these words from Arabic? And I said, I don't know, but I'm not interested. I don't want to know. Like, you guys can figure it out without me. And so long story short, that became my thesis of PhD, my research focus. They pushed me hard. So it was Professor Carol Johnson, he pushed me first. Then it was my other advisor, Claudia Parodi, she pushed me second. And then at the end, everybody was fighting to be on my dissertation committee, because everyone wants the findings of this incredible research that they, in their mind, pushed me in this direction. So it wasn't until UCLA days when I was attending a conference on crypto Judaism or secret Judaism in the Spanish society that I was able to see the crypto Islam and see that side of it and actually really become curious myself. Oh my God, is it possible that people were secretly Muslim? Is it possible that really Arabic was so integrated in the language and affected Spanish? How did it affect Spanish? What did it do? How did it all come together? And here I am after all these years. I can't stop this fascination and admiration for this topic. So today I want to share with you, it's Hispanic National Day. You would think that being Hispanic is one thing, but actually the more I learned, the more I realized it was so diverse and it was so different. So the more I dig, the more I find that I don't know anything. I'll give you an example. So I spoke Spanish for 19, 20 years of my life. And then when I arrived to Mexico, I realized, oh my God, I am super ignorant. I don't know anything. And I wrote essays about Mexican culture, civilization, and language and history. And I wrote 20, 40-page essays on these things. I land there and I am, oh my goodness, this is much more complicated and diverse than my wildest imagination. And this is again what hit me is, I think the purpose of me being here with you today and when I received the call, I think really what inspires me is to create bridges and I think build respect. Because the more I learn, the more I realize I don't know. And the more I realize I don't know, the more I humble myself and respected people even more. And I think this is really something that I urge us all to think about when it's very easy to brush everything with one, like simplify, generalize, and just everything is all is one. It's just like us, all Muslims are the same. Do you speak Islam? All these things that people come to us with, not knowing the difference between language and culture and, but the more you take the time to understand it, I think as the Quran says, you know, we came together to be diverse on purpose by design so that we get to know one another. And I think the more I understood the concept of getting to know one another, the more respect I built for the work I do, and God, the work took me in that direction. So very diverse, and I'm not kidding, diverse, I'll give you a story of diverse. So I was on the bus one day in Mexico City, and I found this Filipino woman. She's a nun, super, like, she looks Filipino to me, like, and I heard her speak Spanish. I was like, oh, I turned, I was like, your Spanish is really good. She's like, I'm Mexican. I'm like, no, you're from the Philippines. And she's like, no, I have never been to the Philippines. I was born and raised in Mexico. I am Mexican. Kid you not. Kid you, there's no way that she's not from the Philippines. Straight out from like Manila. You know, I mean, straight out from, you look like you're from Manila. She's like, no, I'm not. I've never been to Manila. But that's how incredible it is. Like, you would assume something from looks or from height or from anything, and you are thrown completely off. So with this Heritage Month, I wanted to ask you guys, how many countries do you think speak Spanish around the world? Like with this diversity concept, how many countries?
Maybe about 40?
40, less?
20?
20, you're super close. Oh my God, 20?
Less or more?
Less.
25?
Less.
So it's 18 to 20, depending on which one. Okay, but you're super close. So those countries start from Spain, their mother tongue Spanish, and then there was colonization. And here's something to colonization coming up. With colonization, I'm on the wrong. Sorry, I brought two leftos. Make sure my words. Okay. So there's like terms that are floating around as if they are synonymous, but they're really not. So apparently Latino is like synonymous to Hispanic, but it's really not. Hispanic is someone who speaks Spanish, kind of like an Arab, somebody who speaks Arabic, right? But Latino is different. Latino is everyone that has a language that comes from Latin. So that includes Portuguese, Romanian, includes other people that are not Spanish speaking. Italians, the Italians are Latinos, but they're not Hispanic. So you could be Hispanic, and you could be Latino, or you could be Latino by yourself, not Hispanic, and you could be Hispanic and not Latino. Does it make sense? No. So it's not? Okay, so if you are, okay, so somebody who speaks, so this is Spain right here, and all the children of Spain. The children are the colonies, okay? So Spain and its colonies would be Hispanic, right? Latino is everything else that speaks like Brazil, Portuguese, and other languages that are from Latin, but they're not necessarily Spanish speakers. So these don't speak Spanish, but they're Latinos. Yes? So you could be Latino and not Hispanic. And you could be Hispanic and not Latino, right? And you could be in between, which is both. So why is this important? Because we are dealing with, for example, in a phenomena in our community, I'll share with you very soon. So the countries are 18 to 20, but then what's important is the population. So it's like 559 million around the world and 41 million in the United States. There's a lot of people who speak Spanish. That's definitely an important language. Does anyone know the number, the language like Spanish in the world? What number it would be? Like top 10, top 5 language?
Top 5.
Top 5. What number would it be? Top 5?
Maybe 3.
2.
2.
Oh,
2.
right. 2.
Wow.
Really?
Yeah. So it's really important to learn that. Yeah, it's so here it is. I wanted to show you more of this graphic of Hispanic and Latino, because today, why is this terminology important? Because today we have this Latino Muslim or Hispanic Muslim. Is it Hispanic or is it Latino Muslim? Which one is it? You know, when you find all these people doing dawah and standing, they're wearing their t-shirts, they're trying to invite people to Islam in the Spanish language. Are they Latinos or are they Hispanic or are they both?
Both.
Both. Exactly. So it's correct to call them Latino Muslims and it's correct to call them Hispanic Muslims. It's not incorrect, okay? So I wanted to just show you some examples. This is like a growing concept. So in the last, actually, I think it's what's fascinating about Islam is it was able to be part of all these different cultures and different places, irrespective of language and tradition and history, right? It was all these values that came adopted and then customized themselves to the place. Do you agree? Throughout history, like if you think of Africa, if you think of Asia, but then if you think of Latin America. Wow. All right, so with that said, the wrong one. Okay, so is it Muslim? Can you imagine Muslim and Latino? So actually I want to share with you a story, right? So I met this brother, Abu Sumaya. I don't know, does anyone know the brother Abu Sumaya except Lucy and myself? We know him personally, okay? So the brother Abu Sumaya is located in New Jersey, and him and his wife are Spanish-speaking converts, right? So he's the convert from Puerto Rico originally. I think she's Dominican Republic. Yeah, I think so. So what's interesting is, and then I want to share with you the images from different places. This is a well-known place in Texas, and it's the location for Dallas, Texas. It's the Islam in Spanish. I don't know if you guys have heard of this organization, Islam in Spanish.
Yes.
So it's the brother. Let me see if I can see him. Where's the magician? Right here. He was the founder. His father. The reason why he became a founder of this organization is because his father only speaks Spanish, and he decided to sit in every masjid in the khutbah in the back and translate for his dad as they sit in the back. So because one day he realized there's a bunch of people who don't understand English. It's not just his dad, and maybe he could do the simultaneous translation for them. So he used to make them sit in the back and translate the khutbah as they go in the back. The khatib is supposed to be talking and no one else talking. But here he is whispering to his dad. You know, his dad, and his dad is the person who recorded the entire Quran in Spanish audio. So if you ever have an audio Quran in Spanish, it's Mr. Fletcher himself and they're from Colombia. So these are Colombian Muslims, okay? That's one. And then here we go. This is New Jersey. We're going to take you, I think the picture is a little bit blurry, but I showed you this, Abu Sumaya from New Jersey. And so he is his mentor from 20 years ago. So this is the Imam that was very interesting because 20 years ago he had a vision. And his vision was that Islam is growing within Latinos. And I need to have a class every single Wednesday for them at the masjid. I need to have a program to support them. And I think I was shocked when I went to New Jersey and I was able to live this experience with this group specifically because the entire barrio, like the neighborhood, is Hispanic Muslim community. So then you have a Peruvian restaurant that's halal, a Mexican restaurant that's halal. You have a Dominican Republic restaurant that's halal. And I wasn't sure is it halal because the community is Muslim and they're serving them, or the owners are themselves those, convert. And to my shock, I went in and I ate. The owner was, Hispanic. His family is all Muslim going to the masjid. I was like, what's going on here? This is actually impressive, okay? So this is where I'm trying to show you that it's relative to us, like it's relevant to us to know and understand this, okay? So they had their event last weekend, and they invited a sheikh from here. I don't know if you know Sheikh Raimundo Noor.
Yeah.
So Sheikh Raimundo is from Panama, and his first language is Spanish. So then Sheikh Raimundo has been Muslim for more than 60 years, right? Long time. And then this was the last Monday, right? They invited, so when you see all of this, I want you to understand what you're seeing, okay? So basically they have the Hispanic Heritage Month. They're inviting all these people, again, him. This is another Puerto Rican imam, believe it or not. And together they have an organization called the Three Puerto Rican Imams. And they built this organization during the hurricane. They said, how is it possible that we are from Puerto Rico? There's a hurricane in Puerto Rico destroying our island. Why aren't we as Muslims doing something? They started this organization. They collected funds from New York, New Jersey area, all around. They went and did humanitarian work. They rebuilt the masjid that was destroyed. The entire masjid, and they're still working doing humanitarian work. So when people ask them in Puerto Rico, in Spanish, obviously, same culture, same everything, why are you guys doing this for us? We are Muslims. That's why we're here to help. And I think this is a very interesting concept to see this cross, I guess this cross identity or new identity or, so this is Brother Mujahid. I showed you his dad, the one who recorded the entire Quran in his voice in Spanish, yes?
I have a question on
yes.
Recorded Quran in Spanish. Is it available on the website?
It's available on Islam in Spanish. Yes.
Yeah, send me the link.
Sure. Okay. And then locally here, I don't know if you heard of this organization, LALMA.
Yeah.
In LA. So then there's Sister Khadija, and I don't know if you, does anyone know her?
Yeah,
know her? Yeah, Sister Marta and Cesar. Does anyone know Brother Cesar? Cesar Dominguez. So Cesar Dominguez was also studying to become like an imam. He graduated from Bayan, Claremont University. Yes. Sister Patricia. And then I just want to show you pictures of this whole concept of all these different, when you see the different flags, it's different identities. They're not the same person. It's yes. Not all because they speak Spanish, they're the same group and it's the same idea. So let me share with you something that I had to learn. I had to learn that because you speak Spanish doesn't mean you're the same person, but also within themselves, there is like these distinctions. The person from Argentina is not a person from Mexico, is not a person from Spain, is not a person from Guatemala, is not a person from, right, Venezuela. So they have different histories, different context. And so maybe within themselves, they don't have the most harmonious relationship because it's not from them, it comes from colonialism. So Spain differentiated treatment between nations. And I'll give you an example of that. Spain considered the Spanish spoken in Lima, Peru, to be very prestigious in Latin America. And everyone else speaks inferior Spanish. So people in Lima are like stuck up. They feel superior. It's not their fault, but they feel like, I come from Lima, I'm better than the rest of you. Because Lima was considered the place for gold, the place where Spain found most of its gold. It's like right now, if you visit Spain, all these cathedrals is the stolen gold from the Peruvian Empire, Incas. So obviously they raised them up to make them feel so important, but there is a psychological effect of how this implements itself on today. So in academia, for example, you find a professor from Peru who looks down at a professor from Mexico. I'm better than you. Why? They told me this. They told me that, you know, in Peru, we have better education than you guys. It's all Spanish, mind you. Like, take a step back. It's all Spanish. It's all supposed to be very similar stories, but everyone, depending on colonialism, depending on the story, has something. So I give you examples of differences between countries. Now let me give you an example within the same nation. Take that. Being from a Spanish-speaking country, meaning Hispanic, doesn't necessarily mean you speak Spanish. So I learned firsthand that in Mexico, there's 132 indigenous languages, just Mexico. So that means 132 different tribes of Native Americans. Natives, locals, they own the land. It's the homeland, it's home. They're not coming from somewhere. They got invaded. The land was taken away from them. They forced this new identity on them. Here's the identity I'm going to share with you. So, I want to come to our work. I think I would. So this is our organization that we established here in Orange County, the Spanish Islamic Reliance of America, the SIRA organization, and our goal was to. This is the Sister Magdalena. And this is us giving what Lucy was saying we were giving. This is our last event we did before COVID. We were in Mexico, in Puerto Vallarta, and we were giving certificates to the new Muslims who were graduating from either they learned the Salah or they had graduated means they learned the Sirah of the Prophet, whatever course they were involved in. They had their certificate for graduation, and we had like a ceremony to graduate everyone, right? So this was, and like we had a conference. It was a weekend conference, and Sheikh Raimundo was here with us. And as you can see, Sheikh Mustafa was invited also, as well as our last event. So one of the things that you will also see a lot of is this concept of raíces islámicas en la cultura latina. So something about identity. And again, I'm going to come back to identity because I research identity, okay? If the Hispanic identity is trying to self-define, if I am like the Spanish people, I speak Spanish, but the Spanish people don't consider me one of them because I am the colonial province. So I'm not exactly Spanish, but I speak Spanish. But wait, I have my own nuances into what my history is or what my composition is. I could be 100% native. I could be 50% native, mixed with Spanish. I could be 100% Spanish because I never mixed with anybody, depending on my family background, right? So I told you there is a whole spectrum. So within this entire spectrum, you have the search for identity. Well, maybe I am none of these things, and maybe I am Muslim. And here is my past to Muslim Spain. Well, maybe I come from Alanda. This entire reinterpretation of identity. Maybe I need to dig deeper and find my Jewish, Muslim traits in me that I, through the Spanish Inquisition, lost, and maybe I am none of it. You know what I mean? Are you with me? Mm-hmm. So then there's this whole growth of interest in, oh my goodness, could this Latino culture be influenced by Islam? And that's where we have our true identity of who we are. And that's a question that brings a lot of people in, not just curious, but trying to match the facts. Hey, I am family oriented. Islam is pro-family. Is that coming from Islam? Hey, the mother is important in the Latino culture, and it's important in Islam. Is this an Islamic value that transferred over? Hey, we gather and eat food and socialize, and we are generous and hospitality. Hey, no one else does that. The French don't do that. The British don't do that. The Germans don't do that. The Dutch don't do that, but we do it. Is this the Islamic tradition left in us that differentiates us from our European ancestors who are the Spanish, who could have this Islamic background? So all these questions are in people's minds, and it's a quest for, again, for identity, okay? So here comes the identity crisis, okay? So here comes the identity crisis. Christopher Columbus, 1492, is not Spanish. He's Italian. So let's just put it this way. Non-Spanish guy gives credit to the Spanish Empire, okay? So he goes in to Isabel and Fernando, King and Queen of Spain, and he asks for their maps. Hey guys, I heard you guys hold the map. The Muslims have produced incredible maps for navigation, for commerce, for business, for money. We want those maps. The Italians want to put their hands on the maps, right? They're like, oh no, the maps are in Granada and we have a treaty with Granada and that's it. We can't do anything about it. Well, let's get into Granada and get those maps. We want to get some money, you know? If we get to India, come on guys, if we get to India, you know what that means, right? If we hit India, money, spices, let's do it. Come on guys, he's starting to move them financially. All right guys, let's make it about Christianity. Why don't we just go Christianize everybody? Okay, let's come on guys. Evangelical movement, crusaders. Are you guys on board? He's trying to buy people to be on board. What's interesting about Christopher Columbus, some people say he's a crypto-Jew. He's not even Christian. So imagine a non-Christian, non-Spanish guy promoting an agenda for commerce and business and money-making to the Christian king and queen. At that time, they had just confiscated the wealth of the Jews and expelled them in 1492. And they said, you know what? That's fine. We'll go and take over Granada. What do we have to lose? Let's just do it. Took their campaign, took Granada. He wanted maps. He couldn't care less about anything else they're doing. Like, you guys take down the Muslims, that's your story. That's your agenda on your territory. I just want those maps, okay? So he didn't just take the maps. He took the maps and the navigators with him on the ship. And that's why he's successful in one thing, which is going and returning. So Christopher Columbus' legacy is not about him arriving to this place, because maybe others have arrived before him. But what we know, his success or his whatever credit he wants to receive in history, is his ability to arrive, pick up some things, put them on the boat, return as evidence. Hey guys, look, I got some Indians. Look at them. I got some Indians. So because there's language barrier, they couldn't tell if it's Indians or not. He lived and died thinking it was Indian. Lived and died. So it was erroneously labeled India. This is not India. We all know, right? So they're Native Americans. And why they're called Americans? Because the guy who did the map, his name is Americo. So everyone's called America after the person's name on the map. Again, it's back to the maps that, you know, and his right-hand navigator, his name is Abu Bakr. So his right arm is the Muslim guy he took from Spain. He's like, hey, let's do this, let's get on the ships, let's find this India and get the money. Let's get the spices, let's get the money, okay? So it's all about who's going to control the seas. And you have to understand, today, the business is run very differently than every era has its own, right? And its own like wealth-moving concept. In this time, you want to make money, you get on the ship, you get some seas, you get some commerce, you control routes. You control routes, you control everything. So of course, it was India and China. Let's try to get to that direction. Credit is given to those who write history. So they tell you the history is written by the conqueror, right? So this whole myth of the new world, I just love the story of this new world. You know, yeah, there's a new world to discover. It's not new. It was there. They were just ignorant and didn't know it existed. Okay, so let's not call things different. It was new to you because you're ignorant, but it's not new. Okay, so the natives feel we own this place. This is our land. You guys are invaders. That's how the natives feel about this Spanish arrival, right? Spanish feel they discover. They use the word discovery of the Americas. There's no discovery, right? New world. There's no new world. El nuevo mundo. No, there's no new, and there's no. None of these things are factual. It's all. That's why they're changing Columbus Day to. Do you know the new name? Indigenous Day, right? Well, they're trying because we're renaming all these different things. Why is this important? Because the fall of Muslim Spain is the rise of Europe. So it's really how Europeans write their history on what happens to them. So the Renaissance happened right after that, and it was the translation of these texts from Spain from Arabic into Latin, into Italy, into Renaissance. That's why Renaissance didn't happen in Spain, because they burned the text. Arabic, burn. Italians took it, translated, and moved on and improved on, built upon it. Yeah? So with that said, I'm just like putting down, I wanted to show you diversity, natives. And the natives is different concept in every country. So it's surprising to know the percentage of natives in these areas, right? So indigenous population is huge. So countries like, I want to show you percentages that are extremely high. So in Peru, for example, a lot of high percentage. You would find in Argentina to be very low because they killed all of them. There was a president who said we have to kill every single native in this town. That's why they're all gone. In the Caribbean, a lot of them died because of disease, European disease. But really the idea was this big, like, you know what I mean? Like something called cultural appropriation. I'll come to you, I'll check you out. I like your shoes, I'll keep your shoes. I don't like your haircut, I'll give you my haircut. I like your purse, then that stays. So basically, I, the white male Christian person, would select what suits me in you. So if you have gold, like Inca, like Peru, guess what? You're gonna be the top of the food chain. I'm gonna make Lima up here, and everybody who does not speak the Espanol limeño is not speaking Spanish. Like, I was really surprised. What makes the Lima Spanish so prestigious? Like, that's the prestigious Spanish. What is it, like good Spanish? Shoot for Lima. Like, why Lima? But then when you look at the financial side of it, you're like, I see. All tools of manipulation to make people feel bad and others feel good, and you select, you know, who's selecting what.
So Bolivia is the highest number.
And Bolivia is the only country that had a native president in the history of Latin America. Bolivia, of all countries with natives, not a single president is a Native American. Only Bolivia was able to put a native president who speaks Quechua, the language of the people. Speaks Quechua and Spanish. Because Bolivia is like 50%, everybody's bilingual 50-50. Quechua, and they even teach Quechua in schools. So Quechua and
Even
Spanish.
today.
Until today.
Oh, wow.
But it's the only country, one president, I don't think he's the president anymore, but one guy crawled the white men, obviously there's no women, so I'm sorry, but it's all men, okay? So within all these men, there's only one man who is non-white who made it to be a president. How do I say white? Sometimes they're mixed. But majority, they have to get the stamp of approval from Spain. Okay, white, you got one of our descendants there controlling the resources. Let's do it. You want one of the natives to control it? Eliminate. Those guys can't control their own people. You eliminate from the mix. A little bit of politics, a little bit of history, a little bit of language. Okay? So there's lots of languages that are spoken in those towns. Like different places have different languages. As I told you, Quechua, Nahuatl, you got Aymara, Itza, you got different languages, Guarani, Mapuche, all these different languages. One of my favorite things to do is when I go to a native tribe, I ask them to teach me every day 10 words in their native language. So I try to do Dao with them, right? I speak to them, I try to speak to them in their own language, but of course I'm not gonna learn like Quechua and Aymara. I try, you know? So I write it down, I say, hey, tell me how do you say this? Hey, tell me how they say that. You know, so it's really interesting how I wanna know the sounding system of the language. Completely different in Spanish. Wow. Nothing to do. Like it's not even, it's night and day. The pronunciation, the vowels. A lot of these languages don't have a writing system, but everyone speaks it. The children, the elders. So what do we get here? Immigration from all these different places. Migration, melting pot, right? Come to America. Whether it's get a visa on your passport and a stamp and you enter and, you know, bienvenido, welcome to this homeland, do we have something to contribute? Or whether it's I sneak in on a truck and they put plants on top of my head and cross me over and then they discover me in San Diego and then I have to, you know, find my way around and find somebody or find a job or something like that, right? Whichever route that people take to come here, the goal is the same. Make money, help my own people back home. I don't want to be here. Like the whole concept is, I don't want to be here. Please, let me just make money, build my house, make money, take care of my sick mom, make money, help my uncle, help my dad. We are 15 kids. One of them made it here, or I'm going to take care of the other 14 back home. It's a story. It's always a story of I want to help back home. Did you know? A lot of people say, I wish I'm not here. This is not like the dreamland that everyone thinks, oh, they come here, they're abusing the system, taking our jobs. No, they're not taking our jobs. They're doing jobs that nobody wants to do. Let's call it the way it is. You know, let's not say they're stealing our jobs and creating unemployment for people. No, they're not creating any employment for anybody, right? They're lifting, and it's also the cash economy. They're moving all the cash. The cash economy is I think there was a movie, it's called One Day Without a Mexican. One Day Without a Mexican, where they crash the economy, right? So you can crash the economy if you stop moving cash. You know what I mean? You can actually crash the economy, right? So languages are important because some of these words came to English to us today, and we use them on a daily basis from these native languages. We just don't know these words come from native languages. So, for example, aguacate, avocado, chocolate, 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 right? Tomato, tomato, right? All these words that we use on a casual methods, avocado, tomatoes, potatoes, all these different words that are for us, papaya, hurricane, huracan, yuca, you know, all these things that we take as a given, coyote, coyote, all these things that we use today, these are not Spanish words, they are native words. Come from specific languages. This one is noun, okay? So the word cacao, cigarro, cenote, they come from Maya. So yeah, these words that we just take for granted, we don't know where they come from, but they are from native realities. So here's my question. Why would these words cross over from native languages to Spanish, and from Spanish to the world? To us, to English, to French, to Italian, to Arabic, to all these languages, right? So basically, these are concepts that are local of, American territory. So these things did not exist in Europe. We come here, what is this called? Corn. Oh, maize. I didn't know this. Okay, what is this? This is papa, potato. What is this? Tomate. So you take all these, imagine Italians who without tomatoes. Let's imagine Italian food without tomatoes. Like salsa, pomodoro, tomato pizza, and everything is based on tomato. Now, what would they do without this from Latin America coming over? Now, imagine the French fries without the potatoes. Now, imagine that. How would the French identity look like? I mean, it's not even French, but like, let's pretend for the sake of, you know what I mean?
So
yes.
I was just going to say, so tomatoes originated from there?
Yes.
And potatoes too?
Yes.
And we believe that it's a European thing.
We believe it's European because it's promoted by the Europeans.
Wow.
So like the words tomato and papita, they're also in Urdu. So
yes, it came from now, for sure. 100% now what? 100% now what?
Wow. Amazing.
Chocolate, chocolate, cacao, all these things, right? So it's not that far away.
It's one world.
We're all connected. Yeah. We're all intertwined. It's not like this. But again, who told you? It's how you receive the information. You receive it through the curriculum of a white European male Christian individual. That's what was passed on to us to everywhere. Everywhere. We are decolonizing everything. We are decolonizing. So one of the words that is used in Spanish today is ojalá, which is inshallah. And it's used in a futuristic method. So I hope to see you tomorrow. So, ojalá pueda verte mañana. Right? Ojalá means, in Spanish, they use it as a wishful thinking. But the word Allah is in it. Right? Allah, ojalá. Allah wishes, or Khudafid, Allah hafiz, or however you want to, I'm trying linguistically to analyze it, but it's, some people say, Oshallah, with Allah's permission, this will happen. Or if God wills, this will happen. Depending how you want to deconstruct the word, but the word Allah is in it. So now imagine sitting in a setting where people have maybe some Islamophobia built in, from Spain or something. I feel like the biggest pride we had was we were able to kick those Muslims out and and you tell them, hey, the word Allah is in your language, you use it all the time. No, there's no way I use Allah in my language. Here it is. You use it every day. You don't have a stigma against the word.
What is that word?
It means inshallah.
What word?
Right?
That's very interesting.
Very interesting. So I want you guys to learn Spanish. In conclusion, I hope you fell in love with it. The culture, at least the aspect of this. So it's learning, because it's the different things that happen when you learn it. I think it's the culture is so near and dear to us because we're Muslims, because we come from maybe Eastern. It's not it's funny to say this is the West when they're much closer to us. I'll tell you one of the things they say when I was in Mexico. They say, you guys are much more closer to us than the gringos, the white people in America. Wow. So they feel us, which are far away, they think that they're thinking us, they always, the way they project, where I come from, they always ask me when I'm in Mexico or anywhere, are you from over there? So over there for them would be I cross the Atlantic and keep going and maybe take a 50-hour flight or something, So I always say, yeah, I'm from over there. But why do you feel close to us more than the gringo that's like right here on the border? Like we have the gringos right here on the border, and we don't feel like they're close to our hearts. And then you guys are super close to us. Like what's in it? Again, it's the common values: family, hospitality, food, gatherings, just respect for elders, the values that you would think they're becoming extinct like in worldwide, but they're trying to preserve them and hold on to them as Latino values or Islamic values if you're digging deeper. You know what I mean? We're trying to create the connections.
Are they accepting of that when you communicate that these are Islamic values?
I think they discovered. I think that's what's fascinating. They come to these conclusions. And I think the more they conclude that, the more they hold on to Islam. They feel like, it's not weird for me to be a Muslim. Guess what? I'm closer to this than the white male Christian beliefs because the white male Christian belief that I adopted all these years makes me feel low self-esteem. I'm not worthy. I'm not as good as the Spanish. I'll never be good enough, no matter what I do. And my resources are here to be stripped. So it's like, hold on one second. Is this serving my interest? Am I benefiting from this system? You know what I mean?
Really like these are the roots. They're going back to the roots. So just a smile.
A lot of people are doing this root. I don't. Maybe Lucy can elaborate on this since we've done a lot of this work. But a lot of people are curious about these because some of them don't look white to me. Like they don't look white, so they're like, I don't look it. I look more Arab, or I look more Eastern, or I look more this than that. Like I don't belong. It's this concept. I wish I could belong. You know what I mean?
Even like Lucy, when I looked at Lucy, and there's so many other convert Mexicans and South Americans that I've always thought were Arabs, and afterwards I discovered that no, I'm actually from Mexico or South America.
Yeah, and even when we do convert, we're so curious about our names. Where do they come from? Even there's historical proof that some of them did come from Muslims, or they've been changed throughout time because of this, colonialism. I did my DNA. Also, we're curious to find out our roots. Like, okay, Dad, where's my grandma from? Where was she born? What was her name, et cetera, et cetera. So we always try to find our roots because we're so curious. Oh yeah, like we're just trying to find a connection, some kind of relative, right? Everybody always tries to seek that. So I think there's that seeking of knowledge that we're always trying to be and try to make the connection and roots. So yes, there is a lot of that research that we're still like trying to find because there's this new phenomenon. We're like a minority within a minority as a Muslim. And even like the Colombians who are becoming Muslims, it's kind of hard to be in a Muslim society because there's so many cultures and diversity in the United States. So just try to, visualize that, we're like a minority being a woman within a minority within a minority in America. So, as we did research, like Dr. Mariam said, Spanish, the Hispanics are going to be like in, say, like 20, 30 years, it's going to be the second highest race in America. So, but just to picture that, visualize that.
And within the Muslim community, according to the Shura Council, right here, it used to be the African American community was the one that was the most, highest rate of conversion. The last 20 years, it's the Latinos, it's the Spanish speakers, coming into the messages, taking their shahadas all the time. That's why the work we do is not because we choose to go out and it's they're coming to us and we feel responsible to, oh my God, I can't read the Quran in English. I can't read it in Arabic. Can I read it in Spanish? That's my language. I don't know how to do Salah in Arabic because I don't even know Arabic, but I also don't know English. Can I, so you're trying to bring, like, one time we were asked how many languages I need to know to be Muslim.
Oh my goodness. Before
I become Muslim. How many languages I need to know before I become Muslim? I think this question really made us stop and question. No. Somebody who's converting is asking us how many languages do they need to learn to become Muslim? Because the Salah is in Arabic, the Quran is in Arabic, and yet they don't know Arabic, but they also don't know English. So when they go to the khutbah, that's why Mujahid was sitting with his father in the back, translating the khutbah for his dad, because his dad is like, his dad, it's actually interesting how his father, the older gentleman, was completely agnostic. He's a thinker in Colombia. He used to teach at the University of Agriculture. So he's against religion altogether. He thinks it's a corruption, manipulation of the people. I don't like religion. Religion don't work. Look at what the Catholic Church has done. I don't believe in this. Oh my God, my son is getting into Islam. I'm so worried about him. So let me go shadow him so that before he does something crazy, I pull him out. So that's why his father decided to join in the masjid and go with him. And he would tell him, what does this guy say? Because he's yelling at the thing. What is he saying? This guy's yelling. What is he telling you to do? Are you going to do something crazy right now? Is this the moment when he's asking you to do something? Because his father is sitting and trying to protect him. After a year of sitting every single Jum'ah with his dad, like with his son, he's like, listen, I like this stuff. This is way better than what we learn in the Catholic Church. Guess what? I want to be Muslim like you. So he's like, Dad, what? You want to be Muslim? He's like, yeah. And not only that, he got the Spanish Quran. He's like, I want to record it because I don't like to read. I want to hear it. So he recorded it for himself. And that's how we got all these audio recordings. So there's a man and he has an incredible voice. It's like a radio broadcasting kind of voice. So he sits in the kitchen and he's doing something around gardening and he's busy thinking and he's listening to the ayat, the Quran, and this is how he keeps himself busy, you know? But these are projects that are born out of need or out of necessities, needs that come along and make people do specific things, you know?
Where he lives?
Houston.
Oh, really? We should recognize that.
Yeah. So some of the words, the food. I just want to tell you guys, I'm sure you've been exposed to the food, but like really open up your world of possibilities to, I think one of the most fascinating things about Latin America in general is the incredible variety of foods that it produces. Because the weathers are so different in every place. Allah put like incredible fruits and vegetables in all these different places, and the way people combine them to create incredible meals, the creativity is unbelievable. So long as there's no pork involved, and most of them are not pork involved. Only Spain is the one obsessed with pork. Everybody else is very low-key pork, which is amazing. I don't know why, but I love it. Like very few dishes are pork-driven. Majority are seafood-driven, chicken, beef-driven, you know, like even vegetarian, lots of vegetarian.
But not in Mexico. How about Mexico?
Even Mexico, it's not that heavy on pork.
Well, I crossed the border, went to McDonald's. They had all the pork stuff.
You mean the taco?
Tijuana, I don't
tacos?
know.
Let me say McDonald's.
McDonald's. I don't
McDonald's
know.
doesn't have
McDonald's in America? No, in Mexico.
And we are talking about Mexico.
Mexico. But it's not heavy on pork.
It's not heavy.
No. I mean, compared to Spain you can't eat.
Oh, okay.
In Spain, do you remember? We were suffering. Everything's pork. Everything.
90% of the menu is pork.
Yeah, it's like 90% of the menu is pork, and when something is seafood, like so I work on it. Some bacon on it or something. The shrimp is wrapped in bacon.
Even the green beans.
Even the green beans.
Yeah.
So it's like I was asking the guy, what's this pink stuff? He's like, oh, that's not pork. I'm like, what is it? He's like, no, that's ham. Come on. And then the other waiter, he told me we only have one thing that's seafood on the menu. It's skews of shrimp. I said, perfect. That's all I want. He got me 2 skews of shrimp with like pink stuff wrapped around. I brought him back and I said, excuse me, what's the pink stuff? He's like, no, that's bacon. That's not ham. I mean, that's not ham. He told me ham. I told him, no, I told you I don't eat pork. I'm allergic to pork. You know, I'm going to be all red if I eat pork. Do you want me to be red? He looked at me and he said, okay, I have an idea for you. So he took the plate, unwrapped it for me, and brought it back. He's like, you can eat it now. And I said, it touched the pork. If it touched it, it's not going to work. And I told him I'm not going to eat because, of course, after this, my appetite is gone. He made me pay.
Oh.
He's like, I'm sorry, it's your fault. I'm like, no, I told you I don't eat pork. He's like, here's the bill. Call the police. I'm like, I'm not paying. I didn't eat. I really did not eat. How are you asking me to pay for something I didn't eat? Can you make me a fresh new one? He's like, no, we unwrapped it for you, and you're just because you're lazy, you don't want to touch the pork. Oh. He called me lazy because I don't want to like unwrap the pork from the shrimp. So that's, but that doesn't happen in other places. That's what I'm telling you. This experience, the pork experience, is not something that you experience, like Mexican or any other food, like Cuban food. Just experiment. Make it, since it's the Heritage Month, maybe you want to like go discover a new place, a new food that you haven't never eaten before from these places.
Is there any Spanish-based restaurants in anywhere in America?
Like from Spain?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. There's several ones. Where you can have paella and
Oh, really paella?
but more in LA. Yeah, paella and things like that.
Not really.
I don't eat Spanish food. I'm sorry. I'm not too crazy. Or tapas. I'm not crazy about tapas.
Portuguese, right? Also, Portuguese in Spain.
It's a little different. Yeah.
No,
but like I'm not crazy about tapas. Tapas are like those appetizers. I only like Spanish olives. I'll be honest with you guys. I only eat olive oil from Spain and olives. That's when I go there, I eat bread, olives, and manchego cheese. And
Where did the olive come from in Spain?
It's the Muslims who planted olives. Yeah.
What is tapas?
Tapas is like appetizers. Oh. Yeah, and which
like samosas.
Yeah, they're like
bite
size.
Bite size. Bite size.
Snacky items.
Empanadas are from Argentina.
I know, but the tapas kind of look like tacos. Aren't they wrapped? The tapas? The tapas are like
no, tapas could be. Can I show you?
They're all different.
Let me give you any mini thing. Hold on, let me show you what tapas look like. So tapas.
Oh yeah.
Okay, guys, tapas are usually served like this. It's what they call like. Hold on.
Like fritters.
Sushi, it's more like sushi.
Like a platter of sushi.
Fritters. You got tapas. It's small little things. It's nice. Yeah, I tried tapas. All right. When you go to Spain, this is how they serve usually tapas, like this. Or like this.
It's like hors d'oeuvres. Yeah, they're hors d'oeuvres. A variety of hors d'oeuvres.
A lot of French bread.
Different.
Yes, like
it's
this.
all different.
So there are different ones. Some of them have olives. Some of them are like this.
Vegetarian.
Some of them, yes, are vegetarian. So these would be the tapas, right?
There's tapas.
I think, let me show you.
Which means like something you put on top.
Bite size snacky item.
Tapa. Yeah.
You know what you can serve before the wedding meal.
And then there's the famous paella from Spain. I'm not really crazy about paella because the rice is not really well cooked. It's like crunchy rice, and I always tell them to make it well done for me because I don't eat like a raw rice. It's hard for me to eat raw rice. I have a hard time with this crunchy rice.
Is it raw rice or it's
it's cooked, but it's like the minute it touches the water, they turn it. Like someone told them the rice you put in the water and then you turn it. Someone told them you can't do low heat and make it cook for a little bit more. I don't know.
Mexican kadai. It's like Mexican kadai.
So they don't cover it, so you have to steam it.
Thank you. The steam cooks the rice. So if you put the lid, you're done. But no one told them about the lid. Thank you so much. I've asked them to cook it for me extra. It's like extra cooking. Still comes, I'm chewing on the rice.
Yeah, I don't like that.
We'll take one last question. Yes,
I'm curious about this festival, not festival, it's an event. If you know El Dia de Muerto.
Oh yeah.
Can you
yeah, sure. Let me expand on this one. Actually, we're doing this activity with my students next week.
Is that the Day of the Dead?
Yeah. But it's different than Halloween.
It's very
interesting.
It's like that movie, right?
Because in our culture, there is one day.
Yeah. So Dia de los Muertos, it's not Halloween.
Yeah.
It's not. Okay, it's actually very interesting I used to think of it like, before I experienced it, I used to think it's exactly Halloween and people are dressed up and it looks the same concept. It looks really weird and like gooey, scary, creepy concept. The idea of the Day of the Dead in Mexico, especially in Mexico, it's only celebrated in Mexico, nowhere else in Latin America, is that you should never fear death. Death is part of life. So humans should not be paranoid if I die and be scared of like this moment. So you should embrace it with like open heart and be ready for death whenever it comes. So there's like a very peaceful look at death. It's actually very weird because it doesn't look like that, but it is very peaceful. On this day, you remember all your dead people and you pray for them. So they gather in the tombs, they go visit all their, so instead of visiting the day my mom passed away, the day my dad passed away, the day my grandma passed away, the day my grandpa passed away, no. So one day shot, we all gather at the tombs, we all sit down, we bring the priest and we pray for this, all our dead together. Why? Because they believe that the dead people enjoy this kind of visit and this kind of paying dues to the graves. You know how when we go to the grave and we read the Fatiha?
Yeah,
it's a very similar concept. It's a very similar concept because at some point people stop and say, everybody from your heart, pray for the person that is dear to your heart. And people are crying. It's like people are making, it's this concept of dua at the grave and people are emotionally connected to all the, so one of the things they do traditionally that looks off for us, like why are they doing these weird things, right? Is setting up an altar. So setting up an altar is basically they put pictures of their people, the loved ones. A candle is a dua. So a candle is a symbol of dua. So every candle you put is a dua you make for that specific. So when you light that candle, you're making dua for that person. Okay? And basically the flower is that flower of death, the transition to the afterlife. It symbolizes your soul going to the afterlife, this color orange. And these, believe it or not, those candies or breads that they make of the skulls, it's not like skull and bone, weird stuff. No, it means death can be sweet if you've lived a good life. That's the concept behind it. Death is not a scary, weird concept unless you've lived it. So that's why they make it sweet. You eat it, you don't be scared of it. It's part of life and it's just happens. And I don't know why this holiday specifically is a Mexican holiday. Some people say it's because there was a lot of death when the Spaniards came, so they had to psychologically soothe themselves for losing all those loved ones. So it was like a compensation, if you wish. But I used to think of it as like similar to my ideas of Halloween, but then no. Reality is very different.
Yeah, we used to celebrate. I remember going to the cemetery to make the flowers from the paper flowers and go to the cemetery, visit our graves, and then have sugar cane.
Yeah, even when I go to the cemetery here, I see the Mexicans, they bring music and they're eating over there, like a little picnic. The whole family is there. It's almost like being in the park.
And the reason why it's not a sad gathering, it's because they feel like the dead person wouldn't want us to be devastated after they're gone. So let's show them that we are good and we moved on and we are able to move on. So it's kind of like this music, and I never understood this music part. I was like, somebody died and you're playing music, like, are you all right? Like in our, because I come from, like my family comes from Egypt. So in our tradition, death is like, you imagine mummification and mummies and 40 days and you walk to the graves. And so our ceremony of burial is very like dark, you know, like sadness, tears. We don't enjoy going to the cemetery. It's not a joyful moment. So to have music at the cemetery is like, to me, insulting. Like I was like, come on, you can't have music when someone just passed away, right? But the music is, we've moved on. We show our dead people that we are okay without them. Which is interesting how there's a language of communication between people who are alive and people who passed. And so this is part of me appreciating another culture after I found out what it means to be that. But judging it from the cover, for many years I used to think this is Halloween.
Well, the Quran al-Kareem also does not make you scared of the death. Ya ayyatuhan nafsul mutmainna.
Yeah, that's right.
There are many other verses. تتنزل عليهم الملائكة ولا تخافوا ولا تحزنوا وأبشروا بالجنة التي كنتم توعدون نحن أولياؤكم في الحياة الدنيا والآخرة ولكم فيها ما تشتهي أنفسكم نزل من غفور رحيم. I mean, the fear is those who make partnership. That is the ultimate failure of humanity if they do not recognize the sovereignty. So may Allah keep us in the state of Iman without any partnership. Guide the humanity.
I want to thank everyone who came out. It was a wonderful presentation.
Yes, wonderful.
Thank you for educating
one of the best presentations.
Yeah, I love your energy. It was so nice to have both of you at such a short notice to come, and I appreciate you driving all the way from New Horizon, beating the traffic. Thank you so much.
We can do it at New Horizon next time. Although you're
Can I have at least one?
Olive Community Services is a 501c3 nonprofit organization based in Southern California that provides culturally appropriate services to seniors, their family, and the community. Through its physical and virtual interactive programs, Olive engages participants in a variety of ways that promotes health and well-being. To learn more about Olive Community Services, to get involved, or to make a donation, please visit www.olivecs.org or email info@olivecs.org. Be a change maker, and together, let's live, learn, and thrive.